sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Maybe we
Just
can.
maybe just a question.
No, okay.
Rogers is part of the group of carriers that plan to NFC integrated on SIM cards.
Yeah, we have just a couple of things. One, we have an organization called N-Stream. I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's actually call it a joint venture with the other carriers.
Yeah.
So because, one thing that I have the benefit of history or experience. If you're positive, you could say I've been around too long. But the good news part of this, I can actually remember the stuff that hopefully frames it. Remember SMS, short messaging? I don't know if you go back in history, there were periods where actually carriers thought that they would introduce SMS. Sounds obvious, but at the time, that's how the industry started. And then, of course, you realize that the power of any network is actually interoperability, right? SMS wouldn't make sense unless every player was part of that ecosystem. And I think the same thing with mobile payments and electronic wallets. It has to be an open system. It has to be customers that make a choice of saying, here's the credit card company that I want to use, here's the carrier I want to use, and here's the service I want to subscribe to. And I think, what we'll see is people doing trials. We're doing some trials ourselves. And we'll take the lead, that's our DNA. But ultimately, it will evolve to an open standards platform, just like SMS, MMS, and these services.
When we're going to see the first SIM cards with that function, right?
I think, I'm not going to be very specific for obvious reasons, but I can tell you that we are working with several suppliers as we speak in deploying, I'll call it SIM card, that are enabled.
It has to be
right.
Yeah.
So.
I want to pick up on what my colleague was talking about with services itself. We saw at the LTE demo that you can stream in TV at 10 megabits a second, 20 megabits a second. With LTE, is there any feeling that Rogers could deliver more services, come in the TV landscape and maybe offer television services, for example, in Quebec, in an area where you never have before?
A couple of thoughts. It's interesting. We were just talking about it this morning. I think video over wireless is a huge potential platform for growth for wireless. And again, in a very simple way, if you think of wireless, we went from voice to data, and I think the next frontier is video. It's sort of the mirror image of cable. If you think of the cable TV platform or the wireline platform, we went from video to data to voice, right? And I think the ability to deliver video over wireless will be a big part of the growth. Now, at the risk of sounding like it's sort of a contradiction, I think wireless networks in the foreseeable future will not have the capability to deliver full motion video to a large number of customers at the same time, even with LTE or any variation of wireless that we can see. And what you will see is integration of wired and wireless. So wireless networks will offload traffic to wired networks. And whether you use Wi-Fi or cellular, depending where you are, you will see more and more, the traffic will be on your iPad, and then it will, if you think about it from a service, it won't matter to the customer, they'll use an iPad, but from a traffic point of view, that wireless network will connect to the nearest coax fiber that it can find. And I think that's what will drive the business. Just as an aside, we're currently in the midst of rolling out a beta trial on using full motion streaming of our cable TV platform content onto iPads and tablets. So it's happening as we speak.
But are there any plans for Rogers to offer a competing service to, let's say, Videotron and Bell's TV in Quebec?
I'll tell you, I think that the world of content and video content over internet will take a different form from the historical cable platform. So if you're saying, will we replicate the cable platform outside of the areas that we currently have franchises, I don't think of it that way, because I don't think you will see anybody on wireless saying, here's the full lineup and we'll just replicate it. I think people will be much more selective, and you will appear more like an over-the-top kind of service provider, because it's internet-based IP, IP-based video, right? And our view has always been that, there's certain content that will be very valuable to Canadians, and we just need to be positioned to actually deliver that. But it doesn't have to be the same thing that you see on the cable TV platform. If you think of the platforms, every one of the platforms has to respond to what I think are two fundamental customer drivers. First one is on demand. People want to see what they want to see when they want to see it. And the second one is choice. Right? Everything's personalized. So when we did the trial, when we were doing the trial in London for effectively looking at a la carte cable lineups, it's trying to respond to a view that customers more and more, just like on the internet, you want to go to the content that you want, and you want a package that reflects what you would like as a unique individual customer. It doesn't happen overnight, but I think that if you followed our trial, it's trying to respond to that change. Obviously on the internet you can do that much easier because you don't have the same issues of legacy in terms of both where channels have to reside and also spectrum constraints, because they're not limitations. There's no barrier like that on the internet.
Just want to make sure Luann also gets a chance to.
Just one more, quick one. You were talking about managing traffic. Obviously, Rogers was in the news not too long about throttling. I guess I'm just wondering, are you changing your practices? Are you looking into this?
I'll give you the simple answer. Yeah. Anybody that doesn't say that they're responding to the best in terms of what technology can do to manage networks